What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Revived, episode number 22. I'm your host, as always, Shane Craig, and joining me is the lovely Jessi Craig.
Hello.
If you don't know, Podcast Revived is where we share our love of tech, gaming, etc. with all of you lovely people. We record this show every week, posting the YouTube video a day before the audio-only version goes live on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. on Mondays. Be sure to leave a like or a rating wherever it is that you happen to enjoy this podcast at. That does always help out the algorithm. How are you feeling on this lovely day of the week, afternoon?
I'm a little drowsy. It's pretty rainy outside.
It is a rainy fall day. So guys, if this episode seems a little off to you, it's because we already did it, and OBS just didn't record Jessi's audio at all. My audio source was set to default, and yet nothing was recorded. So we're gonna do it again, and hopefully have new, fresh, funny things to say, so that we won't have to fake amusement at the jokes that we've probably already made. Hey Copper, could you not lick your arm while I'm recording? Thank you.
The good news is the audio's not picking up. I get to just watch her do it.
Yeah, everybody just keep an eye on that in the background. So before,
You don't want to know what it sounds like.
It's not good. It's not good. Well, I guess we'll get this out of the way quickly. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, you may have seen me tweeting about having Copper at the emergency vet at 2:30 in the morning a couple days ago. She's doing much better at the moment, so thank you for your concern on that regard. She's a good one. She's a good dog. She's doing okay right now. She was very drugged on gabapentin and Finnegan for like a day, just kind of wandering through the house, you know, like a little zombie. But she's come out of that, and she's doing much better. So, like I said, thanks for any concern shared on Twitter for that. Let me give a quick update on the Surface Pro 7 warranty exchange process. So on the last episode, I talked about how I had a Surface Pro 7 Core i5 in addition to my i3. My i5 had always kind of been a little bit wonky. Like my i3 actually outperformed it in games, which makes absolutely no sense. But I was just like, whatever, I don't game on it anyways. I just don't have a video to make at that point. And but then I started noticing the touchscreen just wasn't quite responding correctly. And I kind of ignored that too. Like the pin, Surface pin, like when you get close to the screen, it shows the little dot that tracks around, you know. It just sometimes that just would not be there, and the pin just wouldn't work at all. And then it would come and go. Like I tried like unpairing the pin, taking the battery out, putting the battery back in, all that stuff. Didn't know what was going on. And then suddenly I noticed that a big like vertical strip on the screen just stopped responding to touch at all. So you could go into paint and draw back and forth, and there'd just be a blank gap in the middle. So I talked about this in the last episode, but I didn't mention that I was going to try and send it back for warranty. Looked into it. Warranty was still active. Put it in a box. Sent it back to El Paso, where all good Surface devices go to die. And they are sending me a new one in the mail, which is great. Happy about that. Weird thing about it is this is the same process as I went through with my Surface Duo. The stuff goes to El Paso, and then they ship the new one from Louisville, Kentucky, which I think if you're from Louisville, Kentucky, you have to say it like this. You have to say Louisville. I believe that's Louisville. Like you got to just move your mouth as little as possible. Louisville.
You can't say Louisville.
No, Louisville.
That's illegal.
Louisville is illegal.
That's illegal.
Can't say Arkansas either if you're in Arkansas. Cops will hit you with a knife.
That actually is illegal.
It's a crime. It's a literal crime. But what's weird is that coming from Louisville to Knoxville is like a 4-hour drive. So it's like, you know, it's like cool. So like my Duo got here in 2 days. They sent me the tracking, and then that day went by, and then the next day I had my Duo. So I look at this one and they're saying Monday, which will be 4 days. I'm like, 4 days? Are you driving an hour per day? Like, how slow are you going? 60 miles an hour is a mile per minute. So what are you doing? You're barely moving. So I thought, well, maybe once it's like properly shipped, it'll update. No, it's still Monday. And what's weird is they went from Louisville to Indianapolis, which is another hour north, instead of just coming straight south. So, you know, I don't know if my Surface is a big fan of the Colts. Maybe they wanted to show it Lucas Oil Stadium. Big Peyton Manning guy, maybe. I don't know. but my Surface Pro 7 appears to be in Indianapolis at the moment. But hopefully by the time you're hearing this on Spotify or iTunes or what have you, I will have it in my hands, back safe and sound, and I'll be able to reattach the pen and type case keyboard that I have there behind me. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll film the unboxing, and I don't know if anybody really cares about that. Kind of old news,
Yeah,
but
you
who
should.
knows? Content is content, as they say. But pretty pleased with how Microsoft's, like, look, I've not had to warranty out a lot of devices. In fact, I've had to warranty out 2 devices in my entire life, and they both have the word Surface in them. So, like, not great in terms of track record for me personally. But I did get a new Duo. I am getting the new Surface Pro 7. So, it is what it is. I had to pay shipping on the Surface Pro 7. Or did I? No, I didn't, because I didn't opt for 2 days.
I don't know.
I didn't opt for the 2-day shipping, I don't think. So I don't think I did pay for shipping. If I did, then it shouldn't be taking 4 damn days to make it 4 hours. But anyways,
not paying shipping. You have to deal with it. 4-day shipping now.
I mean, I've still got my i3 model that I've been using, and it's not really been like a problem to me. Like, I've been using that i3 model that's got 4 gigs of RAM that everybody tells you is insufficient to run to run Windows. And I mean, it's the bare minimum, but like, if all I'm doing is browsing the web, making thumbnails for videos and things like that, it's totally fine. The performance is totally fine. Not to like rehash a rant I've had many times, but people complain about an Android phone only having 6 gigs of RAM when iPhones historically had 4 gigs of RAM. People get freaked out about specs, and it's overblown, and it's not as logical as people seem to think it is. Like, Android is a lightweight OS. Android apps are lightweight. You're not going to use that much RAM. Like, the idea that, these new phones have 12 gigs of RAM. It's like, I mean, yeah, if it's there, you're going to fill it up. So when people look at it and they're like, well, I'm using 80% of my RAM, so therefore you do need that much RAM. It's not really true. It's just that whatever RAM you have, your system will try to fill it. So, like, of course it's going to be full. But if you have less, it'll get by with less. There is a minimum amount where you will start to see an impact in performance, and sure, going from 4 to 8 probably will be faster, but it's not to say that 4 is unusable. I can tell you that it's not, because I've used that i3 model for over a year, and it was fine. Not a powerhouse, but it was fine. And the Surface Duo, while it does have lots of problems, they're software problems. They're not performance problems. They're not lack of RAM. Like, I promise you that, like, my launcher glitching out has 0 to do with having 6 gigs of RAM. It's got nothing to do with that at all. That's not a hardware problem. And 99% of people's problems with Surface Duo is software, not hardware. Let's talk about something a little bit weird. I rant on this show a lot, so I'm going to give you time to talk about something that you might rant about a little bit. A character that is near and dear to your heart. A character that you have always loved, and love, I feel like, more now than maybe ever before. Kratos, the god of all war. Not just a war, but war in general. The concept of war itself. He is the god of it. Has now joined Fortnite. a visceral, rated M, head cutting off, face punched in, blood, gore, boy, Kratos is now chopping at trees with his battle axe to go and build a staircase into the air, and
so you can go shoot someone in the head.
To shoot guns at people where there's no blood, just guns, no blood. And he's trying to get that victory royale. How do you feel about Kratos in God of War? While you talk, I am going to play the trailer for this that shows Pancake Man, a man whose head is a stack of pancakes, being ostensibly saved by the God of War himself, Kratos. Very strange visual. Well, how do you feel about this?
Okay, I don't like it because he doesn't fit in this universe, first of all. Second of all, I'm just noticing that putting him up against Pancake Head, that's almost like an insult. Like, if you really think about it, like, they're trying to make it absolutely ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
You know?
100%.
Yeah, and he's just there in this world. Mm-hmm. Like, what?
How did he get here?
I mean, he does jump from from worlds. Like that's the thing. Like he went from Greek mythology to Norse mythology. Now he's in Fortnite mythology,
Mythology, epic mythology. I
epic mythology.
I think for me, because I've thought about this, like I was thinking about like what other characters would work better, what characters would work worse, and I think it's more in terms of tone. The tone of Fortnite is
Yeah.
so dissimilar from the tone of God of War that it seems disjointed. Like they're doing
Yes.
something with the Mandalorian, and that doesn't bother me because the Mandalorian is
Yeah.
it's a little fantastical, it's a little goofy, it's a little funny.
It's also newer though, and like more like there's a lot of goofy stuff that happens in Star
Sure.
Wars, and I feel like you can put Star Wars into anything, and we're kind of used to that.
Yeah, that's also
Like we're
true.
used to the references, but like God of War is so specific to pull and put into this stupid game. I'm sorry, I don't like Fortnite. um, but it's weird, and like also he's supposed to be immortal, and
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna be able to be killable in this
Sure.
game.
Makes a lot of
Like
sense.
it's just it's not in my mind it's not Kratos, it's just like a costume. Like it's someone running around as him, but it just doesn't look right. It almost looks like a mod, like it doesn't seem to make any sense at all. And so therefore I don't really care for it as much.
You could also have multiple Kratoses fighting. Just a whole bunch of
Okay, but
Kratoses
hold on.
going at it
You can fix it by making a whole server full of Kratoses.
and adding blood.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't have Kratos without blood. And also like I guess like it would have been different if like they had like a map, you know? Like a God of War map.
I mean, you're basically
That would be
asking
interesting.
you're
It'd be
basically
more of an homage, I guess.
you're basically asking him to just change the whole tone around Kratos, which I mean, I
Hmm.
agree with you, but like it just isn't going to happen. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
strange.
But I
What
feel like it's just a grab. It just feels like a grab. They're like, oh, he's he's talked about right now. He's kind of hot right now. Let's throw him in there, and it's good for advertisement. Like you've said before, like it's good for advertisement, but it's not. It just doesn't feel right. It feels a little disrespectful to me and
someone
to Kratos.
Chris Harding on pureplaystation.com pointed out that the Kratos in Fortnite, his nipples are obscured because they can't have. They don't want to. He's postulating that seemed odd to him. That maybe they don't want the 10-year-olds in Fortnite to see nipples. I mean, like I don't know where he's getting it from, but his nipples are obscured, and they,
Nipples too,
huh?
like male nipples too. Like, and we
I
always knew that
guess
female nipples were bad, but
the most evil things in the world,
female
female,
nipples.
the nipples of the female.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's like a source for that, but I mean they are 100% covered. I mean
I did not notice that. I'm
that's
gonna have to.
objectively true. We've also
Oh well, I
got
mean they're covered by his little chest
yeah,
thingy.
but they're not covered.
Yeah,
They're you can see at least one or two of his nipples. I guess I could say one or both
in the game.
in the game. One or two implies that
Yeah.
he has more than two nipples, which is untrue. There's also the problem of Kratos dancing, which I feel like is again when we're speaking about tone, things that Kratos would never do. Uh,
Yeah, no, he would not do that. Like he would have to have been possessed by like I don't know, a demon or something, or maybe a witch. Like maybe a witch is making him do that, but that would never happen. Also, it looks like he's kind of smiling too, and that's absolutely illegal
smiling,
for him to
smiling, and
smile.
smiling and dancing Kratos. I wonder if the people that like originated, like the OG developers, are seeing this and they're like, "You pieces of shit," or do you think they're on board?
So they're not like involved anymore?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, do you think the people that are responsible for Kratos had to sign off
Oh.
on this?
Oh, no, because I mean Sony owns him now, so
But I'm just saying,
they probably
like people that worked on this character, that worked on the story. I wonder how they feel about watching their creation do a chicken dance.
But I hope they don't. I don't know. I don't know what they would feel. I would think they probably wouldn't be happy about it. I feel like most people who really love Kratos probably don't want to see him like kind of humiliated in this way. I don't know why I'm like treating him as if he's a real character, but or a real person.
It's
But
real to me, damn
it's
it.
just it's like cheesy and corny and just it's just not fun for people who really like Kratos. Like people who want Kratos, but they don't want it in Fortnite. They want it in like a
In
new
God of War.
Kratos, yeah, God of War game, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's dumb.
It's very odd. Speaking of very odd games, so if you guys remember, and I can't show you any of this, for reasons that will become clear as I continue speaking. There's a game back in a few years ago called Conan Exiles, and a lot of people knew about that game because of one feature that it had. There was in your character customization screen, there was a slider where you could increase or decrease the length of your genitalia. Okay. Call it a dong slider, if you will.
Is that what they called it? What did they call it in that game?
I don't know what they called it in the game, but that's what I'm calling it. And I just remember seeing online, just pictures of these big beefy men with, their junk slapping against their knees as they run around because there's like physics being applied to it. So they're running and it's just like slapping around. And I was like, what? Like, why? What is this? Well, this was like
How painful.
yeah, it hurt for one thing. That was like a PC game, and it wasn't a big game, and like it was like that was kind of funny, and then it came and it went. Well, Cyberpunk 2077 is a much different thing. This game is huge. The hype is real. The hype is massive. Perhaps as massive as your dicks might be in Cyberpunk 2077, because you are going to have the ability to, as quoted by the ESRB summary of the game, players can select a gender and customize their character. Customization can include depictions of breasts, buttocks, and genitalia, as well as various sizes and combinations of genitals. Now, there's something interesting in that sentence that caught my eye, and it was the phrase combinations of genitals.
Combinations.
So we'll come back. We'll put a pin in that. Put a pin in combinations of genitals. We're gonna sidestep for a moment, but don't worry. We will come back to that. But we just need to stop for a moment, and the fact that selecting the size of your genitals, customizing your genitals. What is your like knee-jerk reaction to okay, this is an action RPG. You build your character. It's in a world of what do they call it? Body augmentation, right? So I got me a robot arm. I got a big penis. I guess will be the next thing you would hear said by someone. What is your knee-jerk reaction to hearing this as a feature in a AAA Game of the Year contender game?
I just feel like it's gonna be a shit show. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be a gigantic joke, and it's gonna make gamers look even dumber than they kind of already do. But I also kind of love it in the thought that you're gonna be able to manipulate it in whichever way you feel best represents you or who you want to be. And that I hope that it is not only just geared towards men but also women, so that if I want really large labia, I can put that on there too.
That's a great
Or
it's a great
yeah,
question because I mean obviously with a penis, I mean there's obvious custom because in my mind, maybe I'm revealing my male centric thinking, but I think we all do this. We all are a little we think about things from our perspective, obviously. Your first thought is you're like, oh, well, you're making your penis bigger and smaller. I don't know, like I don't know how deep are we going here? Are you doing stuff with your balls? Like, a penis is a fairly simple thing. There's essentially
I hope so.
there's like one bit, and there's another bit up top, and there's a little bit down below. That's pretty much it.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
The miming. It's pretty much all there is to it. And so I was like, well, that's not much. But then I thought, well, for a female, it's like, what are they going to be doing? And I thought, like,
The
is it like,
vagina slider. You go whoop,
is it,
whoop, doop,
yeah,
doop,
is it
doop,
like
doop.
when I'm like making a thumbnail for a video and I put an image on top of the image and there's like the bracket around it and you can click on a corner and make it bigger or smaller or on the sides and stretch it or shrink. And I'm like, is that what we're talking about? Are we just
We rotate
shrinking
it.
and yeah. Oh man, sideways. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about? Then I thought, well, maybe not. What if we're like zooming in there and we're manipulating like labia and like there's going to be people looking at it being like, well, they're like they're like
Matter.
they're like playing the game and they're like looking at their character's clitoris and then they've got like a mirror and they're like doing this and looking up at the game like, does that look right? Like making sure it's just bang on perfect. I don't know, like how granular are we how granular should we get here? Should we go to misuse the phrase? I'm using it correctly, but I'm also implying a misuse. Should we go balls out here and just go all the way? I don't know. Where do you stop? Where's the line? What do you think they should be doing here? Just do everything?
Yeah, do everything. I mean, and also like you put it wherever you want it. Like if I want it coming out of my neck, it can be coming out of my neck.
A penis.
Yeah.
That gets back to the combinations of genitalia.
Yeah, go everywhere. I want them. What if you're just a whole body and you're full of dicks like everywhere?
See these arms? Two big old penises. Windmilling. Just windmilling at people.
Gonna want to mess with you, man.
Be like Mega Man. Pew pew. It's fucked up.
I like that. Yeah. Also, like, how important is it gonna be to the game? Please tell me it's not gonna be important because I do not give a shit about sex in games. I don't care.
This is my primary concern. This is my primary concern. If it is the fact that we are customizing our genitalia at all obviously implies that you will be looking at said genitalia for some amount of time in the game if you choose to do so. So, maybe these are side quest events. Maybe you don't have to do them. Maybe you do. I don't know. Hard to say on that. But the fact that that's going to be a focus of the game in some way is maybe it's not weird to me, but it's concerning to me in that we already have people who play, a game like Skyrim or whatever and get lost in that game. They become their character. They escape from their world. And I am fearful that for some people, escaping into that world and then being able to have fully simulated intercourse using the genitalia of their dreams might encourage them to not leave their bedroom, and then it might encourage people with maybe antisocial tendencies to think that they have found what they needed in this game. I may be overthinking this, but I may not be. I remember when GTA 5 came out and it was online. We had a friend who shall not be named, who I was playing online with someone else, and we looked and we saw that this friend was on GTA Online, and it said like where you were, and it said like strip club. And we were like, that's funny. And we played for like half an hour, and I hit the menu again, and he was still in the strip club. And I was like, bro, you've been in this fucking strip club for like half of an hour. Like, what are you doing in there, man? And it was like, oh, I was AFK. I'm like, yeah, sure you fucking were, you weirdo. Like, you're like, what the fuck are you doing in there, man? Like, look, people can be into whatever they're into, but it concerns me because we are social creatures. And as much of my social time that I get done through this computer with my friends, it's a lot, but that is not a full-on replacement for actual human interaction. It's just not. We are a derivative of social great apes. We come from troops. We need physical contact, especially physical contact. And that is my fear of this brave new world, is that in particular in pandemic era, that we're not getting sufficient physical contact, and that might be contributing to rampant depression, and feelings of rejection and all sorts of other negative feelings. And being able to craft a character who you would never live up to in your real life, and now taking it into the intimate world of intercourse, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it's concerning to me.
Well, let's just wait until they create the dating simulator. I mean, we already know that we've got VR and how that's going to translate to, like pornography and stuff.
People are
Well,
going to
let's
be.
put it in video games. Let's just have like full on, just
That's
just live your fantasy life. It's Second Life, but
exactly.
VR in a game.
But as it turns out,
you can look however you want.
Your real life is more important though, because it's real and it interacts with real people. Like the porn thing is like I think is a good comparison, because like you can say like, well, porn on its face isn't like objectively bad, but people misuse it and they get basically addicted to it, and then it colors their perspective of reality. They meet a real person and they don't, like, they have these thoughts in their head of like what's supposed to happen, and it's like, slow your roll, buddy. Like, you've seen that on the videos on the internet, but here in the real world, that's not what people look like. That's not how this works. None of that's anything.
You start getting, pizza delivery boys, and you're like,
oh,
and he's like, I'm here to give you pizza, and she's like, oh, I'm sure.
Extra large.
I'm sure that's all you're here for.
Extra large sausage. And you're like, yeah, that's what I ordered. The extra large sausage. Why are your pants off? Like, what are you doing? That, I don't know. That's my concern. I said to put a pin in the combinations of genitalia. So to come back to that kind of made me laugh at first, and then I thought, well, again, here I am thinking about things from my perspective, being a person with only one set of genitalia. Well, there are people out there that, this is a very sensitive topic. You don't want to say the wrong thing, but there are people out there who are born in different ways, who are born with different things going on in that regard. Gosh, it's so hard, because I don't want to say like with different disabilities, because then some people might be like, I'm not disabled, and I'm like, well, good for you. I'm glad you don't feel like you're disabled. I'm happy for you. Like, do it, live your life. So I don't want to say the wrong thing, but there are people that are born in between, intersex, I think is the correct word. And if you're making this game, and you're making where you can customize your character, you can make yourself, but better. You can make the dream you. And someone's like, well, look, I'm intersex, and I'm, not ashamed of it. So I want to make my character be like me, God damn it. I guess you have to do that, right? Like, that has to be in the game. Because then there's going to be like this small subset, and you can say, well, yeah, but what is that, like 0.5% of people or whatever? I don't know what the fucking statistic is. But it's like, well, yeah, but like, how small a group of people, how small does the group need to be for marginalization to be appropriate? Yeah. 1%, 0.5%? Like, well, that's small enough that we can marginalize them.
You only have 2 types of genitalia in here. I want more than that.
I want a third
genital. And I'm not
genital.
mocking those people, by the way. I'm not mocking those people. I think it's pretty awesome.
It came, I assume that that's what they mean. I don't know what combinations of genitals could mean other than that. Because if you think about it.
My headset's about to die. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. I'll wait until you plug these. Okay. If you think about it, there's only, so far as I've been aware, there are but 2 genitals. There's the outie and the innie.
You're wrong. There are over 18,000.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's made the claim that there are more than 2 genitals. I'm sure someone has, but I don't know what that means. There are but 2 that I am aware of. And a combination of them would imply what? What's the other option? Both. Or I don't know how you'd mix the 2. My mind is like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I've never
You
I've
need
never
to
seen such a
simplify it.
thing. I've never seen such
You
a thing before, so I don't know what that means. But like, maybe it's good that it's there.
for
You're,
inclusion, but it could also be there for the fact that the game is going to be around like body modification and augmentation, like you'd said, it's cyberpunk, like cyborg people.
you know
Like,
what I
let's,
think? When I think body modification and cyberpunk, I think two dicks.
yeah.
That's what I think of.
Yeah.
Tails.
What if you had them
Tails
coming
and
out of your shoulders or like out of your boobs?
I still think
Can
the
you have them on
windmill
top of boobs?
coming out of them.
And you have the boobs and then you have the dicks coming out of the boobs.
Are the genitals going to be restricted to the pelvic region?
Probably, but I hope they're not though.
I
I
love
hope
the
that
idea.
instead of a butt, I can have two boobs for a butt, and my butt up here.
I love the I love
That'd
the
be
idea
horrible.
that I asked you the question, are the genitals restricted to the pelvic region? And your response was to roll your eyes and say probably. Like like what a weird world we live in where that's like a response that makes any sense to me. Yeah, I guess the genitals go to the pelvis.
Because I believe in creativity. I'm an artist. I prefer to create a masterpiece of
They call me
genitals and
the unicorn. I don't know. I
ah,
also have the fear of like it's gotten a lot better, like the stigma around gamers of like gamers are virgin nerds. And I'm like, hey,
and not anymore because they're gonna get laid in Cyberpunk.
yeah, that don't count. But now I'm like worried that like it's like some of these people don't need help, you know? Like I'm here okay, here's what happened if I'm playing Cyberpunk. With all likelihood. I get to that part of the customization. I'm like up here, I'm like hair, eyebrows, nose. I go down and it's like build, and I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of thin, I'm kind of tall, and then it scrolls and then it goes down, and it's like penis, and I'm like, it's fine, just keep going, like like it doesn't matter to me.
What if they make you address it though?
Normal
What if they're
penis,
like
normal. Just click normal penis, whatever you started with, that's probably fine. Like I'm
not
not.
allowed to assume what's normal, Shane?
I know. I mean, I know what the statistics for average is, and I imagine like the game doesn't scroll down and it's like horse dick just right off the bat. Like they don't start you with
It
horse
should.
dick. Like they probably start you, and they probably don't start you with baby carrot either. They probably start you like like
That
a
would be
normal,
me.
like a normal. Shrink it down. Like that's probably where they start you. I don't care about that. I'm gonna keep going. But what I'm curious about is what sort of people, who will it be? Think about your friends, okay? I want everyone listening to this to think of all their friends that want Cyberpunk, and I want you to ask yourself, how long will that person spend customizing their genitals in Cyberpunk? That's what I want you to think about, and I want you to think about what that means about that person. What does that say about them? That they're like sitting there like just really analyzing, like, I don't know, that wrinkle doesn't look right. What does that mean? What does that mean?
That there's gonna be wrinkles. God. There's not gonna be. It's not gonna be that realistic. Are you gonna be able to be like, I want an old person or a young person? Probably not.
I
It's
don't
gonna be
know.
all really young skin
I
if
don't
we're
know.
being honest.
I don't know how it's gonna work. Now there's gonna be multiplayer in this game. Are you gonna be able to be out there just sucking and fucking with each other in the multiplayer world? Because that's a
I hope
slippery slope
not.
too. Because you're just both in like your fucking room with your headsets on, like pumping the B button, going like, yeah, you like that? Like, what the fuck is happening to the world?
I'm gonna run around with a baby carrot.
Taking your pants
And then
off.
also
Hello?
I will be if I play this game, depending on what other fucking news I'm gonna hear about it, because at this point I just really feel like it's a fucking joke. Like the expectations are so
You're gonna make
high
a
and
lot
there's
of
all
people
this
mad.
weird shit.
Because CD Projekt Red has never made a bad game. So I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I do think it's almost impossible for it to live up to people like it's going to be a game of the year. It's like it's not even out yet. Like how do you know that? It's been delayed like
Yeah.
18 times. How do you know it's going to be game of
Are
the year?
they gonna make it past? Is anybody gonna make it past the genital slider? I mean, is that the first challenge of the game?
The genital slider.
Mm-hmm.
You could
Customizer.
you could rewind time 10 years, 5 years maybe, and just walk up to somebody and say, What do you think about that genital slider? And they'd be like, I have no mechanism to parse the words you just said. Those two words in that order don't make any fucking sense. Those words have never been said in that order before.
I think I'm going to spend a lot of time on the customizer.
I don't know what that means about you, but it means something.
It means I'm creative, and I want to create a monster or a masterpiece.
Fear me. Yeah,
they will fear me. They won't want anything to do with me.
I am terrified of that baby carrot dick freak. Butt booby weirdo.
We've got dicks out of our shoulders.
Run!
Oh, God.
All right. Well, you know, look, I don't know what else to say about this game. I hope you enjoy it. If you buy it, I hope everybody that buys it really loves it. And I hope that you...
Depends on what else we hear.
...are able to make the butt boobies of your dreams. And that it's the greatest game that ever came out. You know, I really do. I hope it's tremendous. I hope it's great. We need a good game. We need a game that everyone can get lost in. I'm just weirded out by it. I'm just weirded out by why a game... I mean, look... You know, there's violence in games, so why shouldn't there be sex in games? Sure, I get that perspective. But I'm just worried that we're careening towards the world where you put a headset on and you never leave your house for anything. And you got your little controllers in your hands and you're just like, and you're just like doing all kinds of gross shit in a VR headset. And you're going to have like a penis attachment to put on your dick while you're playing them, and I just don't know that I want to live in that world. It's coming, like, come on, like, you know it's gonna happen. It's probably already happened. Like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
Google
it probably already has happened.
But like,
so you had me at like the perfect world was just not having to leave your house and like put on a headset and just play video games all day. Like that sounds fine to me. I don't have a problem with that. And then you started doing, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I mimed it out. Yeah, I don't think we need digital intercourse. I think that something has to remain safe. I think that digital things are almost always better than analog things because they're easier. And I think that digital sex will keep a lot of people from having analog sex. And we're like poorly constructed biological robots, and analog sex, as I'm going to take to calling it now. Which I really like the idea of digital sex versus analog sex. It makes me laugh. I think it's like one of like our necessities in life because it's like we need physical contact and like it's a biological imperative. And I think that people are going to try to replace one with the other because it's going to be so much easier. And I think it's going to contribute to negative feelings of loneliness and of poor self-esteem and inability to live up to too high of expectations. And I'm worried
sorry, go ahead.
I'm worried that as a society, as a society and as individuals, we are not emotionally or intellectually equipped to handle what is going to be happening over the next 10 years. I don't think we're ready. We weren't ready for Facebook. You know?
Facebook is an abomination, so we really shouldn't have it.
We're really not ready for digital sex. We're really not ready for that.
The point that I was going to make was like we already have a rapidly maturing younger generation like growing up, and they're already being exposed to sexuality a lot younger than they should be because parents these days don't know how to raise children. They don't raise children. They let media do it.
They're not that they're being exposed too early necessarily, but that they're being exposed in the wrong ways because the parents tend to let the media raise their children.
Yeah. Yep.
Historically speaking, this sounds fucking terrible, but historically speaking, sexuality was earlier than it is in today's society. Which is probably for the best. But, did you give little Jimmy the birds and the bees talk? No, he played Cyberpunk. He called himself Long Dong Silver, and he's been fucking all the digital bitches, and he knows more than I do. He tells me.
Sally Four Boobs.
Yep. He titty
Was
fucked
his
her
partner on there?
in 2 different directions because she had 4 boobs, and that's what he does. He's 9, you know. You know, that's.
But I think he's mature for his age. He's
He
yeah.
handles it
He's
well.
fine. Yeah.
This game is rated
There's
M. Don't
nothing-
buy it for your children, for the love of God.
Yeah. They're
Not the
gonna
kids.
fucking do it.
Yeah, I played
A lot of
GTA
parents
when I
don't
was a kid.
care.
I played
Yeah.
GTA when I was a kid. That's one thing that made me
Yeah.
laugh is people would be like, Grand Theft Auto, you can rip a woman out of a car and beat her in the face and then run her over, and this is not appropriate for kids. And it's like, it says rated M. It is explicitly not for children. Are children playing it? Yes, they are. However, that is the parents' fault, not the game maker. And this is very much not, I cannot stress enough, if you're a child, you shouldn't be playing Cyberpunk from what I can tell, because I'm really
listening
weirded
to
out
our
by
podcast.
or listening to me. If you're a child, what are you doing? Go turn this off. I said titty fuck a minute ago. My God. All right. I think that's about enough of that. So, guys, I do want to briefly mention we do have some cool things coming up on the YouTube channel over hopefully the next couple of weeks. Some cool Surface Duo accessories coming up. A cool dock for the Surface Duo. I've got some products from Norev coming out. I think that's how you pronounce it, Noreve. We've seen some of their cases popping up on the Facebook groups and the subreddit, and people are a little not happy with how they look, but hopefully I'll have one in the house here in the next couple of weeks. I do have a pouch coming from them as well, so stay tuned for that. You can get my opinion on what I think about them if that matters to you, instead of just random people on the internet. Hey, wait a minute, I'm a random guy on the internet, so whatever. Hopefully that stuff is coming soon. Some more reviews and things like that as I continue to get more stuff here to talk about. So I guess that's about it. Yeah, let's wrap this thing up, I guess. So thank you for joining me. Oh, what?
You need to turn, because I want to see Rutherford laying on top of Copper,
Oh,
by
you
the
want
way.
to rotate so you can see that? Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing that since he was about yay big. About yay big. About guinea pig size. And he don't seem to know that his head is now larger than he was when he started laying on top of her. And he just keeps doing it. He don't care. He doesn't understand that he's nearly as big as her.
She doesn't care either. Look at her.
She's used to it. She'll be 11 in February. He is 7, and he uses
he's
her.
8.
You're right. He's 8. He turned 8 in July. He turned 8 in July, and he uses her like a bed. So that's Copper and Rutherford.
He looks so happy.
I made a video where I was going over the UI on the Chromecast with Google TV, and in the video, Copper was laying on the couch sleeping, and you could hear her kind of wheezy snoring. And I just left it, and I didn't point it out in the video at all. I just let it. I just didn't say anything because it made me laugh. And I had people commenting like who is that snoring in the video? And I'm like, no, it's Copper. She's my dog, you know? Because I think that people thought it was I think they were probably picturing some old fat guy just sleeping in the corner. And I'm like, no, it's not. There's no fat guy here. It's just Copper. She just snores like an old fat guy. It's fine.
It gets me really tickled.
It's really funny because I'm talking about the UI and you just hear yeah, that's her. That's what she sounds like when she sleeps. So.
What do you your background? I mean,
I'm like, what am I doing? Am I gonna get her up and make her move? She's old. She fell asleep there. She's happy. I'm gonna leave her alone. Leave her alone, you know? So don't make her move.
don't make fun of my dog.
It makes me laugh. Those comments every time I get one, because there's been 5 or 6 of them. It makes me laugh every time I get one of those comments. Every time. Makes me giggle. Thank you for joining me today, Jessi. My name is Shane. This has been Podcast Revived. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.